So that game was obviously extremely bad. If we're being honest, the Fever did look pretty terrible. They looked absolutely shocking, and Christy Sides got it all wrong. And this isn't going to be a video. I'm not going to call Christy Sides incompetent today, because in fairness, she has seemed to be getting better. Like, defensively, they seemed all over the place. And this was the last game on a road trip. And if she was Greg Popovich, I would be very confident in what she did today, but she's not Greg Popovich. But I'll explain it in a little bit. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Thank you guys for 5,500 subscribers. Really appreciate it. And also just thank you guys for supporting the channel recently. It's been absolutely crazy. But yeah, so the Indiana Fever have played a couple of games in the last few days, and some of them have been going well, some of them have gone pretty badly. So I'm just going to be even looking, like, look, I don't want to be a box score reader, but I'm just kind of trying to get a bit of a refresher on how the games went. When they beat the Sparks, Caitlin Clark didn't shoot well, hit 2 threes to ice the game down the stretch, but Caitlin Clark in that game had 10 rebounds and 8 assists. Basically a triple-double. Benley was playing, so Caitlin Clark they were able to get stops, they were able to run. Aaliyah Boston pretty well. Kelsey Mitchell obviously is scoring on a bad efficiency, which she does every single game. When they lost to the Aces are just better than them. Simply put, the Aces were just better than them, so that does not really matter. When they lost to the Sparks, Caitlin Clark had 30 with the ball in her hand. Stats-wise, an incredible game. Unfortunately, came a bit short. They lost to the Storm they lost comfortably enough to the Storm in the end. It was a ball game, then it wasn't, then it was a ball game, then it wasn't. And then obviously yesterday, it looked a little bit better. Like, the Storm are a decent team, the Sparks aren't terrible. The Sky are a decent team. And obviously the Liberty just have their number. And if you watch the game, there were a few things that I think Christy Sides you can learn from that game. As in, she got it so badly wrong tactically wise that you have to be able to learn from that game. And not only did she get it so badly wrong tactically, she got it so badly wrong and she went the opposite of what was winning them games. Caitlin Clark is terrible without the ball in her hands. And I don't mean that she's like terrible coming off screen, she's terrible moving without the ball. Like, she makes bad decisions without the ball in her hands. And it's an actual flaw in her game. Is that she, for lack of a better way to describe it, like, if she doesn't touch the ball for 2 possessions, the next time she touches it, she is shooting the ball. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, if she doesn't touch the ball for a couple of possessions, that ball is going up. It's probably going to be a bad shot, but it's going up. And she's going to shoot them at a lower percentage because she's off rhythm. When she doesn't have... Why in Iowa she was making so many of those deep shots? Why you're seeing her... She tends to hit 2, 3, 4 in a row. Or not 2, 3, 4 in a row. She tends to hit 1 or 2 in a row and then miss a few and hit a couple in a row. Because it's all about rhythm. It's Caitlin Clark's points come in bunches. Especially from the 3-point line. And when she doesn't have the ball in her hands, they don't look for her. Like, they genuinely don't. Especially when Erica Wheeler's on the floor. Erica Wheeler dribbles the ball to the opposite side of the floor, passes the ball to Mitchell, and Mitchell has had 0 assists today. Like, Kelsey Mitchell is averaging like 1.9 assists per game. She probably has the ball in her hands as much as Caitlin Clark does. Kelsey Mitchell plays basketball like she is a my player. Like, she is someone controlling their 2K my player. She gets the ball and it's dribble, put it up. She got really hot today in the first half. And in the first half, everything she got was catch and shoot, 1 dribble layup. I'm open, I'm going to shoot. She's fine like that. But once she goes into that my player style of basketball, she's terrible. And she is, again, she's been one of their main scorers this season. She's half a point a game less than Caitlin Clark. But running Caitlin Clark at the 2 with Erica Wheeler at the 1 is probably the worst combination that they can run. I don't think Wheeler's a terrible defender. But when Wheeler's on the floor, Caitlin Clark doesn't touch the ball. And the problem is that Caitlin Clark is not scoring well, but she's by a significant amount their best playmaker. You might be saying, oh, the turnovers. Like, well, what about the assists? What about the fact that, like, if I'm looking at assist to turnover ratio, Benley has more turnovers than assists. The only player on this team with like an actual decent Erica Wheeler's assist to turnover ratio in fairness, is a bit better. She has one more assist and turnover. It's better than Caitlin Clark's. It's still not great. Like, this team's assist to turnover ratio is not good for any of them. For any of them, it's not great. It's not very good. But Caitlin Clark's is obviously not great, but it's getting better. It's getting there. Like, if you take out the first game where it was just disastrous, she's had maybe 2 disastrous games turnover-wise. Other than that, she's had way more assists and turnovers. But especially when she comes off that pick and roll, that double screen play, that like almost horn screen play, except instead of coming off, but it's coming off one into the other, works extremely well. They get a lot of action off that. I didn't see them run that once today. So that's why I'm thinking Christy Sides went out with a game plan to lose that game. I'm hoping she did. I really am hoping she's like this coaching mastermind that she wanted to see what didn't work. Because on the offensive end, they put Caitlin Clark standing in the corner, went 4-on-4. They didn't give the ball to Aaliyah Boston. As bad as Aaliyah Boston was, they barely gave her the ball. They let Kelsey Mitchell do whatever the hell she wanted. And Caitlin Clark couldn't get into any rhythm. This team is at their best, by the way. It's actually not at their best when Caitlin Clark is scoring the ball. This team is at their best when they're getting defensive stops, ironically, and they run transition. That is when Caitlin Clark's at her best. That's the one thing that Caitlin Clark has been exceptional at. Like, absolutely exceptional. She's been a decent half-court point guard. She has not shot the ball well in the half-court. She is the best full-court point guard in this league. If you put Caitlin Clark on a team like the Aces who get stops, or with a player like Aja Wilson, heck, if you even put her with like on the Sky, like if you put Caitlin Clark on the Sky, oh my god, like they would just run teams out of games because she's so good at that one thing. And they not only like they couldn't get stops today, first of all, but they didn't even look to try. The only other way, if you're not getting stops, to do that is the quick inbound pass, which I've seen them do a few times. They didn't even look to that today because the ball was going into the hands a lot of the time of an Erica Wheeler, of a Grace Berger. And not only are is Caitlin Clark terrible at the 2, the Fever are terrible with her at the 2. They're genuinely terrible. The team sucks with her at the 2. And she sucks at the 2. If she's not playing the 1, and I mean for more than 3 possessions in a row, because there are some possessions, just like with Steph Curry, where you let Draymond run it and you run him off some pin down screens and stuff. They run the same pin down screen every single time when she plays the 2. And yeah, it worked sometimes in games. It worked sometimes against the Sky. It worked sometimes against the Storm. But like, teams have figured it out. It is literally a dribble the ball to the right side, bring her off one single screen, and she gets the ball. And because she gets antsy when she doesn't touch the ball for 5 or 6 plays, she shoots a dump shot. And especially because they have her coming off that screen, catching the ball, she stands in the left corner 90% of the time. Because she releases the ball here, she catches the ball like an equivalent of dribbling off her right hand, and she can't shoot it. She can't shoot it. There's a few times she has to get so much space to shoot the ball. Like, it is the worst. It is genuinely one of the worst plays I've ever seen. Especially because, as someone who releases the ball from this side, you've got to get her coming off the right corner, curling off her right shoulder so that she can catch it. She can catch it and bring it straight up instead of catching it coming off the left shoulder, catching it and having to bring it across her body. But considering the fact that all this dumb crap that they did at the start of the year, they didn't do for a bunch of games where they were looking better and better. Like, I can't see it being anything other than Christy's side saying, okay, this does not work. If they go into the Mystics game with Caitlin Clark at the 2, with Erica Wheeler playing 28 minutes or something, or how much did she play? It wasn't 28 minutes. I think her and Berger combined for 30 something. Like, if Erica Wheeler plays more than 10 minutes, and I'm not joking, if she plays more than 10 minutes, she played 17 minutes, Berger played 13. Like, Berger is almost as bad, but if Erica Wheeler plays 17 minutes again, stagger them with Clark. Genuinely do not play her with Caitlin Clark. They don't play well together. They really don't. And whatever about her and Boston not fitting, like, they stylistically don't match. Erica Wheeler does not pass Caitlin Clark the ball. And you know what? You could argue that based on their shooting percentages, she's probably better off passing it to Kelsey Mitchell. And honestly, I kind of do agree with that. Because Caitlin Clark at the shooting guard position has been garbage. Like, she's played 2 games predominantly that I've seen at the 2, both against the Liberty, and she has scored less than 10 points in both of them. The game where she had the ball in her hands more against the Liberty, she had 20 something. So, look, it is what it is. Like, it was a horrific coaching performance as far as the offense goes. And it seemed like she went back to a tactic that lost them by the game. But what did they lose by 40? Am I right in saying they lost by 40 in their first game of the year against them? They lost by 36. They lost by 36 in the first game, and they went out with the exact same tactic to lose by 36 again. Near identical scores. 104-68 today, and the first time they played was 102-66. Or near identical scores going out with the near identical tactic. The only thing is that maybe, just maybe, she's figured out that they're not good enough to win 4-on-4. Like, even in the first half when they were down by 20, when they were putting Caitlin Clark in the corner. Caitlin Clark was in the corner. She was being face guarded. The game was 4-on-4, and they still couldn't do anything. Like, yeah, Kelsey Mitchell hit some shots, but every single shot they missed, the other team just broke. They just broke, and they're not a very good transition defensive team. So it is really just a case where you're looking at this and thinking everything went wrong coaching-wise, but you've got to hope that it was she went so far away from the game plan that had been succeeding and won them the game against the Sky that you have to hope maybe it was just testing out stuff before they play the Mystics. Because if they lose to the Mystics, they suck. They just straight up suck if they lose to the Mystics.